Hi everyone, I'm Moose, and I recently got a chance to play the upcoming Spider-Man PS4 game by Insomniac, thanks to a review copy provided free by PlayStation. And so far, what I've seen is more than a worthy successor to the Spider-Man legacy. We're not going to do a whole review, but here are some first impressions of what the game feels like to play, and whether Spider-Man is the new superhero standard. Now, fair warning, we're going to talk about some mild spoilers from the first hour of the game, and some mechanics from later on. With that being said, let's start with the swinging. The biggest question on everyone's mind is how will the web swinging work? Is it a worthy successor to the complex physics-based system of Spider-Man 2, or is it all just an illusion? Well, I could safely say that the swinging feels awesome even when it doesn't. The tutorial opens with Spidey leaping out a window, putting you in direct control as he races to the Kingpin's HQ. And at first, I actually had a pretty hard time, with more than a few moments where I smacked into a building, pressed R2 to fire a web and nothing happened, and found myself mingling with cars and civilians on the streets below. But it wasn't because of jankiness or glitches or any fundamental problems with the mechanic, it was because I hadn't learned how to do it yet. My initial stumbles are proof that the system hasn't been overly simplified. It's easy to learn, but it's hard to master. By the end of the first mission, I was sprinting up buildings and swinging across the sky like only a spider can. Spidey has an array of tricks, flips, and zips to build speed, like a death-defying dive, an Arkham-style grapple boost, and even a moonsault. And yes, you can eventually unlock an ultra-satisfying super jump just like Spider-Man 2, although from a purely physics standpoint, it's still not quite as complex as the earlier game. The actual web lines themselves seem secondary. They still need to attach to things and they affect the angle of your swing, but they also break a lot easier, and there's no way to, say, run along a building while holding onto your web line so you could shoot another one with your other hand. At one point, I actually realized that I could just hold down R2 and forward and still get where I need to go. It's not going to look or feel as cool as you controlling every leap, which you can, because the system is as complicated as you want to make it. It's the perfect balance between the complexity the hardcore fans demand and that pick up and feel like a superhero accessibility Insomniac was striving for. At one point, you unlock a fast travel system that I literally haven't used once. It's completely superfluous because it just feels too good to swing across the city no matter how far your destination is. The system is solid and really makes you feel like you're in Spidey's shoes, much like the combat.
Oh no, Spider-Man!
Fighting foes as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man also feels complex in a good way. I hate to make another Arkham comparison, but that series redefined superhero video games, and its rhythmic whirlwind battle system seems to be the primary inspiration for Spider-Man. Most of your fights will be multi-man melees where a group of goons surround Spidey, forcing him to assess and deal with a variety of different threats all at once. You can tie up ranged baddies with different kinds of rechargeable web shots, slide beneath a shielded foe, and launch another into the air for a super satisfying juggle. The game heavily emphasizes aerial fighting, and it not so subtly encourages you to keep the bad guys flying through taunts and dialogue. As you gain experience, you'll unlock skills, suit powers, and mods that all affect how combat plays out, and by the time you're fully leveled up, you'll have an arsenal at your disposal that would make Tony Stark jealous.
Like fish in a barrel.
Between the different kinds of webs, counters, moves, and juggles, there are almost too many options, and I gradually found myself in a loop of launching bad guys, hitting them in midair, and just zipping over to the next one to do the same thing again, ignoring some of the cooler abilities because I just forgot they existed and didn't really need to use them. Each encounter does have mini goals that encourage you to diversify your style in exchange for more XP or crafting tokens. Again, quite like Arkham. Although the comparatively shrimpy Spidey doesn't have quite the same brutal, bone-crunching impact with Batman. And the camera got in my way a few times during some of the more crowded brawls, but I'm excited to get the hang of it nonetheless. There's also a surprising amount of stealth in the game, although it never gets as complex as the combat, at least when you're playing as Spidey. At several points throughout the story, you control non-powered characters who slink around the map in insta-fail stealth sections, and while I got a little impatient during them, they are a nice change of pace, and they do go a long way towards fleshing out the world of Spider-Man. We've come a long way since the balloon rescues and pizza deliveries of Spider-Man 2. The new game's open world has introduced modern AAA tropes like towers, collectibles, and strongholds to its endless array of side quests. But even though those are kinda played out in a post-Breath of the Wild world, and I could definitely do without the hacking minigames and pigeon chasing,
This pigeon knows the city better than I do.
they feel fresh and new inside the universe Insomniac has created. Within the first hour, we've got wheat cakes,
Mom used to make those.
pro wrestling, and an homage to Amazing Spider-Man 33. The game throws so many Easter eggs at you, it almost feels like they're trying just a teensy bit too hard. But the effort is appreciated, and Insomniac's love for the character is impossible to deny. For a big chunk of the game, the main antagonist is Mr. Negative, a relatively new member of Spidey's Rogues Gallery who fits right in alongside the old standbys like Electro, Scorpion, and the Vulture. As the game progresses, the city becomes more and more chaotic as the stakes get raised, and towards the end, you're dodging rockets and military snipers as you roam through the sky. One of my favorite touches is J. Jonah Jameson's podcast.
This is Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, where listeners like you discuss the issues affecting our city with Pulitzer Prize winning two-time Pulitzer Prize winning former publisher of the Daily Bugle. Hey, plug the book.
Open world games get kind of boring and static when you're just running around to nothing but ambient noise, which is why the radio is such a huge part of GTA. In Spider-Man, Peter is constantly talking, either to himself or the people calling him up on the phone built into his mask.
From his elevated position, Spider Cop spies his destination. A second surveillance tower.
Are you narrating yourself?
What? No, of course not. The Chief never did understand Spider Cop.
Insomniac's world is bursting with the familiar and the new, with tons of hardcore Spidey lore mixed with intriguing new takes on classic characters. For example, Mary Jane is not an actress or a supermodel anymore, she's taken Peter's old job at the Daily Bugle. A pre-Goblin Norman Osborn is the mayor of New York, supplying the city with a high-tech surveillance system that helpfully fills your minimap with side quests and collectibles. Of course, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and there's one early on reveal that we're not going to spoil, even though I want to so desperately because it completely blew my mind. It feels like the Telltale Batman games in a way, playing in the sandbox of an established world, but not afraid to take characters in wild new directions that I guarantee will surprise you. I'm not ready to say that it's the best Spider-Man game ever made, but based on my 20 or so hours with it, I would easily recommend this to any fan of Spidey or superheroes. It's the open world superhero game we've been waiting for, and if we're lucky, it'll inspire more studios to license their IP for AAA titles instead of quickie cash-in mobile games. But you don't even have to be a true believer to enjoy it. It's immediately accessible and fun to play no matter what your experience level. And while it's a little clunky in a few places, I can see myself swinging through its gorgeous city for years to come. Thanks for watching, everybody. I can't wait for you guys to be able to check out this game. In the meantime, you can watch our series on the history of Spidey games, or you could ask me a question about the game, and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability without spoilers. Anyway, leave a comment, subscribe to NowThis Nerd, and if you'll excuse me, I gotta go back to playing this game.